When did we start asking permission to be ourselves? When did we get to the point where we needed somebody else to tell us who we were in order to be who we already are? I mean, I think it's a huge question, and one that honestly I find myself struggling with. I wonder if you maybe do too. I mean, it's so easy to be in the place where we define ourselves as having lost ourselves. And then at one point, I lost myself, and I was, and we have all those kind of stories, and I've heard myself tell a bunch of them, and I've heard some of the rest of you tell them as well. And I understand how valid that feels, but I would like to encourage you today that maybe you never actually lost yourself. Maybe what was missing, what was quote unquote lost, and I use that very loosely, maybe it was just a matter of we felt like we needed permission to be ourselves. Like we needed somebody else to tell us, hey, you're good enough. What you're doing counts. What you're doing matters. And so, therefore, you have permission to be you. And we look for that. We absolutely do. I do. I'm sure you are too. You know, and so we look around. We look for clues. Can I be excited here? What'll happen if I speak up? When I see something and I'm dreaming big, does it make me sound arrogant or like I'm never satisfied? I'll tell you the perfect story. Um, I was riding in the car with one of my daughters. It was probably Maya, but don't quote me on this. I don't remember specifically. And they were sharing some kind of really cool idea they had. I want to make sure you heard what I just said. A really cool idea they had. I was excited about it. Now, here's kind of how Steve's brain works. Here's something Steve has apologized for years that I'm trying to learn how not to. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm trying to learn how not to. Uh, Glad to have you here with us. Thanks for coming. Um, and I got excited. I was like, oh yeah, that would be so cool. And then you could, and my mind, because my mind just always sees the next. It is a natural up leveler. It's like, yeah, gets excited about it, latches on it, and begins developing even more. Not because what you said isn't good enough, but because in my excitement, I can see more. I've got that kind of brain. And she said to me, she's like, nothing I ever say is good enough. I was like, oh, honey, it's not what I meant at all. What you said is amazing. It's cool, and it could be great just the way that it is. I'm just excited about it because I see all the potential, all the possibilities that come from that. And that's something that, I really can't contain. And it's situations like that. And I don't want this to sound like I'm blaming her because I was already very deeply in the midst of performance anxiety. I don't know what to call it, of trying to not be too much and being told that a whole lot. And it happened for many, many years before she was born. And we give ourselves permission, or rather don't, whichever way you want to look at it, to not be fully alive. You know, Here's the thing. I don't remember anybody actually specifically telling me that I don't have permission to not do those things. It's all the subtle little things. Because when we're little, I've told the story over and over again about me, standing there singing on stage the first time me and my two brothers sang and pulling the mic down in front of my mouth. Not because I was old enough to even know how to be arrogant or selfish or those kind of things. You just sang into the mic. I remember years later, both with the band and in singing worship, and I've talked about this before too. The concept of hitting notes used to be, in fact, actually, my voice changed. Guys' voices do. My voice changed, and I was still singing soprano because I didn't know I was supposed to. Glad to have you here with the age. Um, and so I would just throw my head back and sing whatever the note was. It just popped out of my mouth. And then over the years, you're told you're too loud, you're told you're too much. And what ends up really happening is we stop asking, am I alive? How does this make me feel? And then we start asking, am I allowed? What's everybody else going to feel if I do that? And I've been really thinking a lot about it. And I really know that really we always already were who we are. And that was always good enough. And we really need to embrace that. So, my question for you today is, what's something you used to do naturally, just came to you naturally, that now you find yourself asking permission for? So, I'd really genuinely like to hear from you. That thing that once felt effortless, that now you feel like you've got to get somebody's permission in order to do. What is that for you? I look forward to hearing your comments. I'll, of course, be back here again tomorrow, and we'll talk again. I look forward to it. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And until we're together again next time, I hope you have a great week.